Skyblock wouldn't be Skyblock if it weren't for grinding, and with the vast amounts of it available, there's more to grinding than just skills. If you go to your Skyblock profile, you can see your list of stats, which usually go hand in hand with your skill level, but there are some exceptions. We'll worry about that later, but the stat we want to focus on right now is base health. Usually a good way to get a higher health in Skyblock is to get a good armor set, add growth 5 and reforge it. Put in growth 5 on all of your armors and easy 300 health. But the health I'm trying to get is without said armor. I want it to be as strong as possible all on my own, and the surefire way to do that was to increase my base health. If you go back to your Skyblock profile and click on it, you can find your base health, which can be increased by farming, fishing, and fairy souls. So, that already gives us a few things to work towards. I'll be dividing this video into fourths, and describing how each quadrant helped me crawl closer towards a base health of 1000. And before we get started, it would mean a lot if you subscribed, help the channel get to 90,000 subs, we're so close to the end game. I think we've talked about farming a lot on this channel, but there is yet again another side to it. When you first started Skyblock and made it to the hub, you probably went over and farmed some wheat by hand. And after you farm wheat for like a minute, your farming level goes up along with your base health. Now, of course at first you don't really notice this because you just started the game, but that health you get adds up a lot, and the higher level farming you get, the more HP you get per level. It wasn't even until I was going for farming 50 that I realized how much health I was getting from it. So by the time I was made aware of base health, I had already had a huge head start. I've gone on in my old Skyblock videos about my unnecessary obsession for some more health. I think these obsessions just prove that I'm the epitome of a side quest Skyblock player. I reached farming 50 soon after, which was already a kickstart towards my base health, and that wasn't even the goal at the time, I just had it. And if we fast forward a few months to whenever they added farming 60, the best Skyblock update ever, another 10 levels of farming gets added. Each level gave you 5 more base HP, which means I was able to get another 50 base health. In total, farming 60 will get you 242 base health on its own, and because of that, farming was responsible for over a fourth of 1000 base health. Okay, so long story short with fairy souls. Do them. Fairy souls are a comically easy way to get your stats basically quadrupled. For every 5 fairy souls you find, you can go to an NPC on the hub island to redeem them for stats. Apparently the fairy souls are the NPC's lost sisters or something, so of course she's gonna pay top dollar when you find them. And that's what really matters. The stats. Anyways, the more groups of 5 souls you find and redeem, the more stats you get from the NPC. And there are over 200 fairy souls to collect, which is why this buffs your stats so much. However, they are Easter eggs, which means you have to look in every single nook and cranny on every single item to find every single one. Or you can just watch a video to find them all. It's pretty easy. It's like a 4-hour sitting and then you get 500 base health. Pretty cool. The last 10 fairy souls in the dungeon were by far the hardest ones to get, because the fairy souls only spawn in specific rooms and you need to be able to recognize which room has a fairy soul to find it. Nevertheless, it's still entirely worth going for every single fairy soul as soon as possible. So with every single soul collected, I was able to amass 523 base health towards 1000. Slayers were definitely the smallest part in getting 1000 base health, and they're probably the smallest part in my Skyblock career too. But it's worth mentioning. Slayers come with 3 bosses: Revenants, Tarantulas, and Svens. You only get base health by leveling up your Revenant and Sven levels, so we can ignore Tarantulas because who likes those? A lot of my Slayer XP and levels came from whenever I half-heartedly tried to get combat XP. Luckily I spent most of my time on Revenants, because Revenants give you base health for every single Slayer level you go up. Leveling up your Svens by doing Slayers does give you base HP, but only like every 2 levels or so. I started blowing all of my money on tier 4 Revenants because for as much money as you do lose, you get 5 times as much XP compared to a tier 3. And in case it wasn't obvious, my financial experience is non-existent. Even though I didn't grind Slayers that much, I was able to get about 23 base health from Revenants and an extra 4 from Svens. Slayer levels actually go to 9, but going past Slayer level 7 in anything takes so long. So I ended up sacrificing about 19 base health so I could save tens of hours of time. I think that's a pretty fair trade-off. Slayers were always a lower priority to me in Skyblock. They'd be the last thing I'd do in Skyblock if I got bored or didn't have anything else to do. And that mindset caused my Slayers to not be the best, but at least I got some health out of it. Fishing was a skill that I never touched in Skyblock. After all the aforementioned quadrants and getting base HP, my fishing level was only 19. I had 4 maxed out skills and then fishing 19. The only reason I even had fishing levels is because there was a time where I had clay minions to get fishing XP for me. But that was a long time ago, so the level's stuck since. But what makes fishing important is you get the same amount of health per level as you do with farming. Even at fishing 19, each level past that would give me 4 HP. And in total, I had around 960 base HP at the time. But what pushed me to finally really fish for the first time in Skyblock was the mayor. There's a small chance during elections for one of the candidates to be a special mayor, and the mayor that was winning by a landslide was named Mayor Derpy. Derpy's quote-unquote perks were disabling the auction house, doubling the health of mobs. However, he made it so every skill gets a 50% boost. That was the point where the game was just holding a giant neon sign at me telling me to fish. So I went to the park to go fish, opened my ender chest, and realized the only fishing gear I had was a challenging rod, which I got months ago. Really, the reason why I never fished in Skyblock is because I never knew how to, and also it's infamously boring, so that left me with a roadblock. But while I was streaming on Twitch, a player named Simplexy81 let me borrow all of their fishing gear. But this wasn't just any fishing gear, I was going from 0 to 100. But not only that, I had just learned about barn fishing too. Barn fishing is basically where you go to the spider's den, you fly over to the hub island, and then you fly over to the barn. Going to the spider's den first is important because it means pretty much nobody's gonna be at the barn island, and also, the spider's den is the only place that naturally gets rain. Once you make it to the barn, you fish in the canals for about 5 minutes with the dolphin pet out, and then after 5 minutes you switch to a squid pet to kill all the sea creatures because the squid gives you a fishing XP boost. So I did that for a while, and I got myself all the way from fishing 19 to fishing 28. And you need fishing 26 to catch a yeti, but you can only catch yetis during Jerry events. Simplex needed his fishing gear back not long after a Jerry event had started. I was getting worried because I wasn't going to reach a high enough fishing level to get 1000 base health before Simplex needed his armor back. But then a Skyblock miracle happened. The second yeti I ever caught in Skyblock dropped an epic baby yeti pet, which sells for over 30 million coins. And just because of that, I was able to buy my own set of fishing gear which was the exact same quality as Simplex's. The only thing I was missing were the level 100 pets, but those aren't hard to level up. So right as Mayor Derpy was almost out of office, I was ready to keep fishing. Oh yeah, and then the mayor after Derpy favored fishing, so that's cool. It was Mayor Marina who also conveniently gives a 50% buff to fishing. She also buffs your sea creature chance, and sea creatures give more fishing XP, so that helped. So all that was left was to continue the cycle. Use the dolphin pet, fish for 5 minutes, use the squid pet, kill the fish, do it again. My fishing level got to the point where each level was giving me 5 HP. One of the members of the guild I was in let me borrow their level 100 squid to help things go by a little quicker. And in just a few days, my fishing level was 32, which gave me just enough HP to reach 1000. And there we had it. I now had an absolute minimum of 1000 HP at all times. And for the sheer amount of fishing I had to do just to get to that level, there's no turning back now, so expect a fishing 50 video in the future. The only reason I went through with this is because farming cheese is getting your base health up. So getting your base health up requires you to grind one of the quickest skills and one of the slowest skills. Also, when I take my armor off, I have over 1000 health, and I'm assuming it's because of some quest I forgot or my level 7 catacombs, because those give HP too. Oh right, and my half full cake bag. Is it half empty or half full? There's no real purpose to 1000 base health, it's just a nice milestone to reach. All of the fishing finally brought me to a skill average of 40, so now I don't feel like I'm terrible at the game. Anyways, that's it. This is supposed to be a casual video, but I think I dragged this out too long. Sorry it took me like 10 days to upload again. All of that time was spent grinding towards, this video. Make sure to subscribe, we're so close to the dream.